everyone. Today I want to try my new handbook journal sketchbook. I already started and actually wrote my name right in this corner. And I also made a few lines in order to have something to paint today. I'm going to start by painting her hair. Okay, let's see what happens. So right off the bat, the paper feels nice. It doesn't feel like the paper has that type of synthetic finish on top, which I was actually struggling with on the Canson sketchbook, the previous one I was using. I usually prefer to start by painting the face because usually that's the most important part of the portrait, but we are going with the flow. I'm kind of using this gouache like watercolor right now. So a little bit of black in there. So usually blue gives depth to the things you paint, like it's more far away. Oh, look at that tiny little feather. Looks like a dove feather actually. Check out that dry brush effect that just happened right there. Quite like it, but definitely not what I'm going for. So once I finish the hair on this painting, I'm definitely going to see what colors I'm going to use for the rest of the painting because I have no idea yet. You know, I've started painting green because I have an obsession with green currently, so I'm just going with the vibe. So this green was actually inspired by the 1970s comics that I actually made a video about them. They're called Susie's Secretos from the Heart. I mean, Susie's Secretos del Corazón, and I made a video. Basically, it's a brief introduction on romance comics. So my initial thoughts on this paper is that it's actually very wrinkly, and I'm not sure if that's like okay. And you can see that there's actually some paint that is touching the spine of the sketchbook, but we'll see. I like how the paper feels when I paint on it. It is definitely on the thinner side. It's a 200-gram type of paper, so it shouldn't be that wobbly in my experience. We shall see. I'm going to add one more dreadlock right here. I found these leaves this morning right here, and I thought that could be a really nice color. I don't know. Looks nice with the green. The sun is setting very nicely. You know, this is a nice color palette as well. Maybe we can do the skin more on the pink side. That's almost like magenta. I usually get like those tiny leaves right there, but look what spring brought me, this huge leaf. And look at the texture, it's like wrinkly and soft. These are my cebollines. And another plant that I really love are actually, well, these two. This one is green on the inside and it's purple, very deep purple on the outside. Fantastic color combination. And here, this one, it's day number 2 and I'm looking at this color palette that I used for this gouache sketch I did previously, and I think I might incorporate this in the background. So yeah, let's see what I end up doing. Hello, it's day 3 of painting in my new sketchbook, and this is where I am at this point. I am not very happy about the blue in the sky. It breaks a little bit from the whole green and magenta and purple and red tones we have going on. Initially wanted to add some gold in her jewelry, so maybe I have to tone down this blue and turn it into purple for it to work. So look who arrived. Hey, Latina. Hey guys, it's day number 4. I have this cheap acrylic paint I bought recently. It's kind of a weird shade, like a muted pink, but I thought it could actually look very interesting in the background. And we will be adding gold as well. So the gold I'm going to be using is Dr. P.H. Martin's Iridescent Copper Plate Gold, and the cheap acrylic paint is Deco Art in Wild Rose. I'm going to be using this Prismacolor in Poppy Red. Love this shade of red, just to draw the shapes I want to make with the acrylic paint. And by the way, I haven't finished painting the face yet, but I want to add a little bit of background texture as well as adding all the golden details, just to see where we are at right now with this painting. I think that's enough. So I didn't bring anything to put the paint, so I'm just gonna take it from the cap. After all, we are not mixing the color. I usually use a palette, but I don't have one here, so I'm just gonna drop that directly. Okay, so I'm glad I did all that experimentation with the acrylic paint. What I'm going to do right now is actually give a little bit of shine to the eyes. So let's do that. White gouache here that has already has a little bit of pink in it. Okay, so I found this is actually the palest purple I have in this Deco Art acrylic paint. This one is in grape taffy. So I think I want to add like something kind of abstract. I'm not even sure what to add right now. I'm like, what? Let's just try and go with the flow. Yikes. Okay, so this looks like a very retro type of motive. I quite like it, but I also think it's kind of too busy for the whole portrait. Let me show you how it's looking. So a part of me wants to leave it like this, but another part of me actually wants to sort of blend that with the purple background. So I could do that with a very light wash of gouache. So I just finished doing the little bit of wash in purple on top of the acrylic, and I love how it looks. It definitely toned down the saturation. The gouache actually settled between the acrylic texture, and I love it because the texture remained. I might actually paint some gold details on top. I also added a few shadows on the gold elements. Okay, so these are my final thoughts after using the sketchbook for the first time. As you can see, it includes this elastic here that closes the sketchbook very tightly. I like that. It has a place where you can put some information here. It includes a little bookmark. It has this small envelope or flap at the end where you can store anything. It's covered in fabric, which I think would be pretty awesome to actually paint with acrylic paint. It's obviously hardbound and it's actually very sturdy, which I like because it will protect anything that's inside. As you can see, the paper is not the thickest one for watercolor, but it held pretty nicely for gouache, except for the fact that it transferred a little bit in the bone of the book. But overall, I would recommend this for gouache. And speaking about gouache, let me talk to you about my gouache palette. Honey makes a big difference. The colors that I actually mix with honey are definitely easier to work with. They re-wet faster and they have like a thicker consistency. For example, this orange right here was mixed with honey, and this opera pink over here, this is one of the gouache paints that I put in the palette straight from the tube. You can already see a difference visually. Obviously, this doesn't affect the painting, but it does affect the way that the paint will re-wet, and the overall performance of the paint is so much better. So I do recommend that you try using organic honey. But if you do not have organic honey nearby, I am planning another video where I will show you other options that you can use to make your gouache paints nicer to work with. Consider subscribing if you are interested in checking that video out in the near future. This is the finished piece for today. Thank you for joining me in this very random creative video. Take care. I will see you on the next one. Bye.